Hi, this is Catherine Roseanne with Board Game Geek TV here at Spiel 2014. I am sitting here with Richard Breeze and Sebastian Leesdale with R&D Games, and we're here to talk about, well, not Keyflower, which came out 2 years ago, not Keyflower the Farmers, which came out last year, but Keyflower the Merchants, their newest expansion, right?
That's correct. 2 years ago, Keyflower was voted the #1 game at the show from the Fair Play Scout Action.
Which is pretty exciting.
People at the show vote for their favourite game, and this was the #1. It's now reached the top 40 of the Board Game Geek, which we're obviously delighted about, especially as it's not as difficult, I think, as many of the games that reach the top. It's quite an accessible game, and it's also a game it's a game where you have to go with the flow. It's difficult to start the game with a strategy because each game will be different. There's a different selection of tiles that come into the game. The number of tiles depends on the number of players. So if there are 2 players, it's 6 tiles coming out in each season in the middle. With 3 players, it's 7, and the game will play any number from 2 to 6. So this was 2 years ago. Last year, we had the expansion with the Animeeples, and that was Keyflower the Farmers. And this year we have Keyflower the Merchants. So I don't want to do all the talking, so let's Sebastian kick in with the overview on the Merchants.
Certainly. Now, Keyflower the Farmers essentially sort of made the game a bit wider. It brought in the Animeeples and things like that, and so therefore sort of kind of gave whole new different strategies. The way I think of Keyflower the Merchants is that it makes the game deeper, in that it sort of takes some of the existing strategies in Keyflower and sort of kind of adds additional sort of ways in which they can work. The most obvious of these is probably sort of these extensions here. These are things which, once you've sort of taken a particular building and you've upgraded it, then you can sort of upgrade it a second time in order to sort of kind of make this even bigger and more valuable. The cost of doing so is the cost which is indicated on the extension piece which you choose. So this one here would cost you sort of a stone in order to do it, and you place it on there. And all that the extension does is, well, it does 3 things. The first thing is that it doubles the point score which you have in the top right-hand corner.
That's always a good thing.
It's always useful to have additional points, and it's especially useful for some of the valuable autumn tiles which come out, which are worth 10 points. Suddenly you can get some 20 points out of them instead. And the second thing which it does is it changes of what can be bid for in this particular, what can be sort of how the tile can be used. So previously, sort of you could use any colour tile on there, but with this one here, then you're now fixed to using yellow meeples in order to sort of go on that one there. So if you've got a particular colour which you know an opponent's trying to sort of use your buildings with, and you don't want them to sort of be sort of disturbing you too much with that, you can do that. So, for example, if you particularly don't want people to be messing about, then you can use one of these green upgrades and place it on there. You'll get fewer meeples coming in there, but the ones which do come in and which will be taking the ability are going to be particularly valuable for you, and make it harder for other people to cheekily come along and sort of use your buildings when you want to be the person who's taking advantage of them.
So, at the beginning of the game, everyone starts with one of their home tiles, and Sebastian, just pass one of the screens out from the box there, and they've got a selection of I'm going to call them keeples and keep up the terminology that we've been using in the rules. So we start the game with just 8 of these, and they live behind your screen. So in the normal game, people, or in any version of the game, people will not know what colour you start the game with. There is an expansion which a variation which quite a few people do enjoy playing, where once the workers have been used, maybe in your village, and they come back to you, they go in front of the screen, so there's not as much hidden information, it's trackable information. Mm-hmm. But the point I was going to mention, which Sebastian mentioned, talking about with the extensions, is that people that know the game, when you place a worker on your home tile, or there's some transport tiles as well, this allows you to upgrade one of the tiles by paying the cost of the upgrade, which is what's included in the arrow in the centre of the tile. By paying that cost, and that enables you to turn the tile over, which then gives you the benefit of what is shown in the box at the bottom. and as Sebastian mentioned, you also get to see the victory points. Now, the process for placing one of these extensions onto a tile is the same process. So by putting a worker on here, you can utilize that symbol, the upgrade symbol, and that's what enables you to take one of these, paying the cost and placing that onto the tile. It's a similar rule for the normal upgrades, so that if, for example, this one requires a stone in order to complete the upgrade, then the stone has to be, and this obviously has to be in your village as well, then the stone have to be transported, and we've got some stone from the box on there.
I can get some stone.
If you transport the stone onto the tile if it's already there, and then you pay that away, and that enables you to take the
Activate.
tile, do the upgrade, and that then generates the extra 3 points at the end of the game.
Another feature which you get into the merchants is an enhanced ability to upgrade things there. So if you get one of these sort of kind of big sort of houses from one of the boats, which I'll come to in a little bit, then you can place them onto your home tile, and suddenly rather than just kind of having one upgrade ability on your home, you've got two, because you've got an extra house there. Or indeed, if you have a second one there, so you can have sort of 3 upgrade abilities that's with a home tile, and that means that suddenly you can sort of do a lot more of the upgrading and feeds into sort of allowing you to kind of build the various extensions which you need to do in order to get the points which you want to do.
So these cabins arrive. Could you just pass me the green bag?
Okay.
And do we have any skill tiles?
I can possibly find
So-
some skill tiles.
Each of the boats, if we were playing the full game here, each of these boats provide you with what's available in the next season. There's 4 seasons in the game, so it's not a long game. Spring, summer, autumn and winter. And the season on each tile is shown in the corner. So this is not a real situation because we're showing you the new tiles which come from each of the seasons. So this one started off as a spring tile. This one started off as a summer tile, so an autumn tile, summer, and then these 3 are new winter tiles. So we actually provide a new bag which comes in the box. So this is to put the skill
Go wrong
tiles.
with the bag.
Requests from BGG users who wanted another bag to put these in. So what happens with the boats? So we've got all 6 of them lined up here, but for example in the 2-player game, 2 or more players, these 2 boats would arrive. These boats give you a different selection of items which arrive on the boats as opposed to the base game. In the base game it was always the same boats arriving depending on the number of players. In the rules we suggest that when you start playing with the merchants, you start playing with the rules which bring into the game all of the merchant pieces so you can familiarise yourself with them. After that, it's perfectly acceptable and reasonable to integrate the tiles from the base game with the merchants and also with the farmers. They're all mixable.
Yeah. So the idea is essentially that's a kind of here we've got the old sea bastion, here we've got the new sea bastion. You choose one of those at random, and then you sort of decide this is the one which we're going to play in this particular game. Or you decide to kind of in this game you want to play all the merchants ones and sort of have these ones. And so sort of when you win the sea bastion here, then sort of kind of you get sort of one of these houses which I was talking about. Or if you win the upgraded version of the Keyflower, then you get sort of additional goals. Or if you win sort of kind of the new version of the Flipper 2, then you get sort of a green meeple in addition to the ordinary ones. So they add something sort of kind of a little bit extra to your play.
Exactly.
And they also have sort of different abilities if you win them at the end of the game. So this one here allows you to do an extra sort of it gets an extra extension for free, and that sort of varies from the base game.
Yeah. So though it's probably worth looking at because they're all quite interesting. This one gives you 2 points for each winter tile that you've secured. This 3 gold. This one we'll come onto the contracts in a minute because that's a separate subject as far as the game's concerned. And this one gives you 2 points for each of your upgrade ability, which can be quite powerful because that initially is 1 point and there's 2 points. 2 points for each of these, and then also for the additional transport tiles that come into the game. But the cabins only arise in the game from winning the or selecting one of the tiles which have got the. So there's a bit of a disaster happening off screen at the moment, but I think it's been recovered. And it's Maureen Hiren who wants to make her presence known. Good afternoon, Maureen. So this will arrive due to that symbol, and also you would get, in this particular case, you would get 6 of the meeples. You'd see those at the beginning of the season, the 7 there, and also one of the skill tiles. So that would be the selection from that. That's all visible, but these are the 2 tiles which give you the cabins.
The Sea Bastion also has a special ability that whoever wins that in autumn can choose any of the other boats and use that and replace it with that for the winter. And that's a particular thing because Richard and I play quite a few 2-player games, and we were getting a little bit bored of constantly having the same 2 boats to choose from in the winter. And we thought it might give a bit more variety to allow 2-player games to actually select all the boats available there. The final part of the expansion are these contracts here. Essentially, you get contracts through the various new tiles which we've got here. So the assayer, the bookkeeper, and the merchant.
Yeah.
And what contracts do is when you take them, you can either take one of the 3 face-up ones or one of the face-down ones and place it secretly behind your screen. And you can use 2 functions with them. The first function is if you've got the various items on the contract at the end of the game, so if I've got 2 green meeples, then I can lay that contract and the 2 green meeples to one side, and that will score me 7 points. Or if I've got the white wind version, then it scores me 10 points. The other thing, if I don't have that, or decide that I don't want it during the game, is I can look at it and say, well, I'll give up this contract and I'll take myself a green meeple. Or I can give up this contract and take myself a skill tile. Or basically whatever item is shown on the contract.
Choose one of the items.
Exactly, yes. And so that's a way of trying to get some specific items which might not be in this particular game, some which you need for some other scoring tile, and essentially just gives you a little bit of flexibility and with secrecy, so you can take lots of these things here and people don't know what you're up to, whether you're trying to build up a huge queue of contracts or whether you're trying to just save them up for some other purpose.
So basically adding lots of more depth and possibilities to the game.
Yeah, it's quite nice to. I actually miss this expansion when we can play without it, because what it does, it adds the flexibility. As Sebastian mentioned, with these contracts, unless it's a white item, which you can't exchange it for, you can exchange the contract for a specific item which is on the contract. At the end of each season, the contracts that remain there are moved off, and we get a different selection coming in. And in this case, that's a particularly nice one because you could swap it for, that should be the other way up, a keeper of any colour. This is a special one in that it shows the start player marker, and that allows you to exchange this contract for any of the characters that can be exchanged for at the end of the game, because it's quite a flexible character, the start player marker.
Alternatively, if you have the start player marker at the end of the game, then you can hand it in for 7 points, which isn't a bad deal either.
It's quite interesting here. We're sitting here and we've got a designated, it's a sort of another 15-minute slot, and there's a little countdown clock which is just off screen which you can't see, and it's actually still showing 15 minutes. So I'm not quite sure whether you're trying to get rid of this or whether we can go a bit longer. But I think what we have done, and I think in a snapshot, we've covered the main aspects of the game. I think it's, if you like the game, particularly as Sebastian and I have played a lot of 2-player games in developing it, and I think certainly it adds even more possibilities and flexibility, but it allows you to do more things with the game. It's opening up possibilities rather than closing down, which I think is a key factor in the game.
Broadening the possibilities of the game, basically. Yeah. And I know there are a lot of people that do play a lot of 2-player games, and it's good to have that flexibility that because a lot of the times when you play 2-player, it just kind of flattens out after a while. That sounds great.
I think
and the extra bag is always a little bonus. The extra bag is always a lovely little bonus.
Yeah, so thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And that was Keyflower the Merchants. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
From R&D Games.